If you're willing to stand up now and stop thieves from robbing your supermarkets and your country markets and all the stuff around your homes and cities, if you're willing to stand up now and do that, you're willing to stand up against the plan as it moves forward. See, that's a dangerous segment of society at this time if there's a pushback. That's what I'm saying. You're to track both segments, the thugs and the law-abiding citizens who resist, right? That's what this is about, to catalog all them.
They're setting this up to mark all the people, but more than that, this is going to be the first in a series of events where the corporations have an excuse to shut the doors. So all automated inside.
Say that again with me. Permanently.
I think that's the obvious logical step to the way that they're ending inherited wealth, is they're setting up systems where people can sell off their assets without transferring it to the next generation.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are on this beautiful blue planet. Caught me off guard right there. Trying to collect my thoughts of how this week is turning out to be. Possibly step 2, bringing us in further into this reset. So step 1 was COVID, obviously. Now there's a possibility that EBT, SNAP benefits, the food assistance program, are not going to be paying out. So many places have already gone into emergency authorization to try to get funding in the millions of dollars for all the residents in a state to help them through food banks get the food they would have off of the EBT and SNAP system. People are getting really outraged that they're having their ease of accessing food cut off, let's say. It's turned into, it'll be a hungry, I can't feed my kids political movement. Is what that'll turn into. It's already snowballing. It's going to be difficult to undo the yarn, you know. It's already kind of rolled it in its momentum of everybody organizing, and the Revolutionary War was fought with 3% of people against the British. 3. This is about 10% of all Americans are on some sort of assistance for food. Now think about that. Just even let that sink in for a second. Like we started color revolution after color revolution across the world. Playbook is pretty much copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And we are seeing it right here, right now. If the chaos is allowed to continue, I'm just saying, if it is, by Monday, this country will be rather unrecognizable to a point. And that's when you know that step 2 has really, or part 2 has begun into this 3-part series of the end ends up in the reset completely. Digital ID'd all the way down. It's going to be coming in that no more cash. Everything's digital. We need to go from here to there. And the only way to accomplish that is what we're seeing now with this kind of projected violence and rioting, etc., would bring us to that point. And you have to ask yourself, are we in the uniparty and this is all just one giant stage play? Because they always call it theater for a reason, do they not? Because see, remember when they took us into COVID, how there was all those excuses needed and it was so new for everybody. It was like, what? Our whole world just changed. And it was really like, what? This one, a lot of people have seen a lot of change so quickly that this one's going to be a little more difficult to pull off with the speed and the mind affecting effectiveness of it. I guess it doesn't make sense, but it's the effectiveness of the way your mind will be bent, and that shock and awe campaign moving forward with this one too. Wall Street, Washington, the Fed, they don't care about your future. They care about control. And as they push their agenda forward, they'll take everything from you that they can. Your retirement, your portfolio, your assets, all of it. The only way to protect yourself is to stop playing their rigged game and untether your wealth from the system they control before it's too late. The simplest way, move your money into a universal asset they can't print, freeze, or devalue. That asset is gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can roll over your retirement into real physical gold and silver, wealth that's beyond their reach and in your hands. Go to 2030 Gold right now to get your free wealth protection kit. That's 2030gold.com. Noble Gold, helping you break free and take back control. An U.S.-based service team that's handled over $2.5 billion in precious metals transactions. And for a limited time only, a bonus for new qualified accounts, a 10-ounce silver American flag bar and a 1-ounce silver American Eagle proof coin. That's 2030gold.com. Noble Gold, helping you build a stronger future. You can already see where the roadmap leads you to over there. The whole digital ID, track trace, no more cash, everything's digital, that whole thing. You're not going to be able to live in certain areas. Well, maybe, maybe not. Everything's going to be on the blockchain. You won't own your house. Everything's going to be digitized onto a ledger that's then sold off as a financial product, depending on who holds that bundled loan package from any other of the large 4 or 5 banks. All digitized. Dollar number assigned to it, your mortgage, your car, anything of value, your four-wheeler, your boat, your camper, your log cabin, anything that you got financed, that's all going to be digitized with the value put. That's where that leads to. Now, after that's accomplished, to live in that system, you are going to have to be the saint. Because if you step out of bounds even one little iota, because you can see where they took it to in China already, but we're going where China is now. Between then and now, something gargantuan needs to happen. So do you think this would be it? Like using the EBT system, turning that off to create agitation, knowing that law-abiding citizens would also be in those stores going, hey, enough's enough. And also removing that segment of the population that would be resistant against any type of COVID 2.0 type of thing would be taken out, and the thugs would be taken out. So these two segments, which would be thorns in the side anyway, have been removed in advance. It's not a roundup. Is this the beginning of chapter 2? Is this the next step? The beginning of the step is the question. And thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Civilization Cycle podcast and live radio show every Thursday night, 10 p.m. to midnight, broadcasting across wherever you're listening to on the venues, and Rumble as our seed point. Ransom?
You know, this could go a couple of ways. I don't think it's going to go, super crazy, because it'll play right in. They pumped this up. This is like a weapon, basically, by the Democrats to push this civil unrest idea, but it's really, I don't think it's going to work. Even the far left governments, like where I live, has already been preparing for this. So what you're looking at is a post that somebody posted. And, it's funny because I noticed them, but I don't go in town that much. So I was like, well, that's weird. They probably did that because of the weirdos out there wearing costumes before Halloween on their No Kings protest. There was like 15 guys or women, men or women, whatever. Them were out there in costumes. They and them were out there in their costumes. I don't think the majority of people driving by even knew what the hell they were doing. They probably saw it later on the news. Oh, it's a No Kings protest. But in anticipation for that, our town put up a bunch of facial recognition live CCTV cameras feeds back to the police station that have facial recognition and license plate readers all on it. Kind of like those ones I showed you that were on the highway for the Border Patrol. They put those all over town here. So here's like a little map of that right here. And
yeah, now, Ransom, now at the end, can we slow it down and see if you can get around this? Can you make a route through town to escape and evade all of those?
No.
Really?
No, absolutely not. That's kind of what the guy was talking about. We can't even get into town, in and out of town without being tracked. And they're all
there are
over the
some
place.
places if you come through the desert there.
Yeah, on foot. You're not going to drive in or out without going through one of these cameras. And not only that, they set them up, guess where? They set them up at all the food distribution and shopping centers. So all of the little grocery stores and shopping centers. So like this cluster over here would be like Home Depot and all of that stuff. They got one on each intersection of major highway, state highway, and interstate federal highways. And then here is all the food distribution centers. You got Walmart, you got the other chains of grocery stores, and these ones that you see far out here, that'd be the Border Patrol station that already has one going either way on the highway. But then they added these other ones along where the Air Force base is, and then getting over here, this is a dollar store, this is a Dollar General, and here's little areas where you eat. So we We went to go ahead and
And
say
what
the
are
name.
the purpose of these cameras again there, Ransom? Like what information are they collecting those cameras?
They are live CCTV robots that have an intercom directly to the police station, and on the little solar panel box that, it's like a trailer. They just pull it out and park it there, and it has a facial recognition software camera on it, and it has license plate readers. And we went shopping at one of the shopping centers that had one out in the parking lot, because there's a store there that stays open till 2 a.m. to get all your smoking needs around here. So, but anyway, we pulled into that, and a little robot goes, "Warning, you are trespassing. Your face is being recorded. You are being reported," blah, blah, blah. I forgot what the little robot message said, but here's a map of the United States, and you can tell that, well, just about every Democrat run major city across the United States has set up a bunch of these in their cities. So this is like and this is only one company. This is Motorola also has one of the same companies here. And the other one is Flock Safety right
Yeah,
here.
I've
And
heard of them before. They're putting out really hundreds of thousands. I think it was 400,000 cameras the last time I checked. And it's
right.
all
And
it's that same thing. It's license plate readers they're not tracking phones. They're only getting license plates. Yeah, sure.
well, I
And
looked
Flock
on the
Safety is, positioning themselves as you got to have a flock system. It's the only way to go. Eventually, there's going to be millions, like Elon Musk's satellites. Think of that. Then the deployment of these flock safety cameras and license plate readers is like deploying Elon Musk's small disposable satellites.
it gets even better, because the
Look,
ones
it's
that
happy
that I found,
Thursday night. Everybody gets better.
the ones that I found on the internet, most of them that they're talking about, like where you could go on the internet and go to a website and read about it and look at it, they show the one that just has the license plate reader. The ones that they set up here have about 5 different cameras. They're not unlike the one I showed you at the border check highway that,
Mhm.
reads your license plate, facial recognition, all of that stuff. But not only that, it has a Wi-Fi connection to connect to the businesses to use their CCT camera TV, their feeds as well. So if any crime happens, you have the police trailer rebroadcasting the surveillance video from the stores. So if anything happens immediately, the whole network is told about it. And they're talking about here, this is for our safety. Don't worry about it. It's a citywide safety network that they just installed right before the No Kings protest. That it fizzled. It didn't really happen. And I was thinking about it. That doesn't make sense, because they knew that the little protest would only be on one street. That's the kind of the main street that goes to our town. They go there to protest, so everybody has to, drive by them and see them. So I thought, well, why are they putting it up everywhere? Why is it in the Walmart parking lot? It was because of this EBT thing. So here in the state of New Mexico, where the average of the EBT recipient is at 21%, unlike the national 12.5%. So it's 12.5 nationwide are the amount of people that are on food assistance SNAP programs. But here in New Mexico, being, the most dangerous state, the last in education, the last in everything that's good, and the first in everything that's bad, right? We here are at 21 point something percent of the population is on snaps. So the governor found an extra $30 million of federal money that wasn't getting used. And she's going to become the state savior by providing SNAP benefits for people for like a week, like the first week. So people get it on the 1st, they get it on the 15th, depending on where you live or how they have it set up. There's usually 2 dates per month that some people, like half of the people, get it on this date and the other half get it on the other date. So you're not going to see everybody freak out all at once across the nation. Half of them will. But that's okay, because they've been preparing for this and we've been talking about it for years. The major corporations did the strike one with COVID so that they could cut hours and cut employees. So they went back to a
Mhm.
12-hour business cycle. Now is going to go into what we talked about before, that we kind of called food distribution centers in these
It's here, isn't it,
food
finally?
deserts. So they're going to let a little bit of crime play out. And I'm sure you saw all of crazy videos of people saying they're just going to go in and take what they want. They're going to eat their Thanksgiving. They're going to have their collard greens or whatever. They will, and they'll also get facial.
Cartoons, no less.
Right, they're going to get facially recognized. and
Yes.
and like I said about the 2020 Summer of Love, and I even made a joke in a video. And I was showing the facial recognition cameras getting all of the BLM people, and saying, yeah, well, they're all in the system now. So don't kid yourself. The government knows who all of those people were out there causing trouble, burning stuff, tearing stuff down. They all got marked. They're all on CCTV cameras and people's feeds from like TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all of that. Pictures were flying everywhere. Nothing is private on the internet. Facial recognition algorithms are running through all kinds of things you wouldn't think they would be. So they know who all those people are, and they're going to know who all of these people are, and they're going to let them steal at first, depending on where they live. In some places, they're going to crack down like you've never seen before. So it works both ways for either side of the aisle. If the lefty or kind of use it to say, look, they're trying not to feed you, they want to starve you out, and all of the other kind of weird BS theories are out there. But the other side wants to increase the amount of law enforcement nationwide, not unlike what happened in COVID in other countries, just for different reasons, right? So we're doing it for different reasons, but like me and you have talked about, they never reseed a program. It never goes away once installed. They're going to use it. So
Wait, now before you go on there, so think about the roundup that would occur of the people. So this is going to be in the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, after this plays out. So your choice will be the national workforce, which will be formed after this event, or you can join the military and be shipped off overseas. And there you go with the trackers, right? So imagine if that's part of the purpose also. In addition, those of you who are law-abiding citizens, I know you want to stop these people from like taking grocery store carts out of Walmart, but they are a billion-dollar company that is insured and slippage and everything in between. It is not your job to stop them from going out. I know you want to and be like, no more stealing in here, but really it's a corporate entity. They want that too, to see who is going to respond and stand up against a threat. I think that's a double tracking system that's going to be done during this time because, like I said, if you're willing to stand up now and stop thieves from robbing your supermarkets and your country markets and all the stuff around your homes and cities, if you're willing to stand up now and do that, you're willing to stand up against the plan as it moves forward. See, that's a dangerous segment of society at this time if there's a pushback. But, if you're out walking into the parking lot and somebody accosts you coming up to your car, that's a completely different thing, completely different. At that point, yeah, you should already have like rehearsed a few times in your mind what's going to happen, right? It's not like what's that? You should already have that scenario and run out, and you already made the choice in your mind right now what you're going to do before you even do it. So it's like a habit when you get there, you don't even think twice. But a lot of people will want to do that. That's what I'm saying. They're to track both segments, the thugs and the law-abiding citizens who resist, right? That's what this is about, to catalog all them.
Well, like I said, it gets better. So I saw one video where a woman was talking about, what are you going to do when I come up in your house and take all your food out your cabinets and I take your grandma's milk and get up in the deep freezer and all of that. And I was thinking, well, not just me, but probably anybody out there will turn you into a donut real quick.
Yeah,
So
I'll agree.
But on the other
Jelly donut.
yeah, right. The other point I was making is that they're setting this up to mark all the people, but more than that, this is going to be the first in a series of events where the corporations have an excuse to shut the doors. So all automated
Permanently.
inside.
Say that again with me. Permanently.
Right. So we've talked about
Permanently.
this before. It'll be like food distribution centers, more like.
Yep.
So you got used to ordering online and, you pull around to the side in those little parking lots waiting for they come out and bring your food. Well, now because they're worried people are going to haul out a bunch of their products, and they're not really worried about it. Like you said, it's all insured and paid for, but it is an excuse to go to an all robotic system. So the food distribution center will be a place that you just pull up and then you get your groceries. Then you're on your own in the parking lot as far as what happens after that, but you won't get to go shop in the store. And we've already seen this trend going by companies locking all of their products behind plexiglass with little locks, and then it moved to just straight up tarps with pictures of it. Like we're in North Korea, you just get pictures of food and there's no food there and you get to order. So now it's going to be order online before you get there, and when you get there, you're just going to get what they give you. They're going to give you replacements. They're probably not going to give you a refund for the difference in price. Say like you ordered organic sour cream and you get Daisy sour cream. It costs like 50 cents less. They're not going to reimburse you for that. They're just going to fill your cart and you're going to go on your way, and you'll be happy to get what you can get because it's closed. And it'll take a long time to go back and get in the line. They already have super long food lines waiting behind like only 2 or 3 robots that are open with one cashier, and then they have like 10 robots not being used. Well, they put those in there for a reason. That's how they're going to get people used to going through it. And then eventually you're just going to pull up to the curb, scan it, pay for it, probably use your digital ID to get it. So they know that it's going to the right people, of course. What's been ordered online. But that's what we've been talking about for a long time. What would they use? And of course, when people go there and they get mad and they want to go in the store, well, then that means you're going to have armed security at places, right? So this is just an excuse. Either way, if you go super far left or super far right, you're going to end up back around at the same place if that's completely digitally tracked and traced everything you do. This is what this is about.
The end goal. I can't get the end goal. Okay, let's say it comes to fruition and it does, and we're completely at the apex. They can't take it anymore. Got damn chips in your brain, got augmentation everywhere. Everything's that, you're living through a digital matrix screen. Okay, and then what?
Well, whatever they got planned for you, which is probably just a small amount of people really enjoying life. And it ain't you. It's not us. It's not the masses. That's their plan. They're even, going out of their way to rebuild the Georgia Guidestone, which makes me think that it wasn't some kind of secret Illuminati attack on the thing. It was literally some guy that didn't like it. He didn't like the idea of it, so he went and blew it up. And they didn't want to tell people because if that guy became a hero, if they caught
Which
him,
he would have.
right, and caught him and put his face all over the place, then people would start doing more things like that. So they didn't want that. Instead, they're probably just going to build another one that's more in your face, less out in the middle of Georgia or somewhere, but like downtown New York City, which is about to go crazy communist right now.
You think they would do that? Because I went out to Elberton where that thing is, and it's hella in the middle of nowhere. You really need to, like, you're going down I-75, and then you need to turn left or go east as you're going down toward Atlanta. And you drive like a good two and a half. And I mean, through just hundreds of thousands of chicken, like, farms as far as you can see, man, with chicken farms and raising out there like soybeans and stuff. It is just in the middle of nowhere. You literally turn and you come down, and where is it? It's in the middle of a cornfield, basically.
Right. Well, they weren't
Like
ready for people to look at it.
It's on a knoll by itself. Like, you can see it from, like, if you knew what you were looking for before, when you turn in off the stoplight and you go down this hill and you come back up again, you could have seen it directly from across there if you know what you're looking for. It's just literally in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the fields.
Right.
There's no pomp or anything. Even when we got there, my mom was like, "This is it?" Because I was going down to the airport, and we're like, "Oh, let's stop over at the Etowah Indian Mound and go see the Georgia Guidestones. 2 birds, 1 stone," right? She was shocked that there was nothing there. She's like, "This is it? I thought it was supposed to be this monument and things like Greece kind of thing."
Right. No, it was just a little
No,
message.
it was just that thing just plunked right there. Nothing else.
This little message written in all of the all of the languages with the little solar and lunar calendar on it, so it could kind of keep date and time for the plebeians that come back out of the ashes there. That's what it was meant for. You weren't meant to think about it or look at it yet. They weren't ready for it. This whole idea, and even if it doesn't get that crazy fast, it's just one of many incremental things that are going to lead us to the same place. It might not happen this time. What I expect this time is for some kind of emergency fix in late November, to let everybody stress about it for a couple of weeks, which will prove that on one hand that leftist governors don't have control of their areas, which give further excuse to put more troops on the streets, which by the way they're planning. But in the wider scope, the wider vision of this, we're having global conflict. I mean, it's getting right there. Even with Trump visiting Xi Jinping over there and supposedly having a good deal, everybody's arming up. Everybody's increasing nuclear. Like we had nuclear. I know that bothered some people. Nuclear.
You Northeast accent. You take that out of here. You hear?
Yeah, but they're all arming up. They're all getting ready for a worldwide food shortage. I don't know what's going to cause it, but they seem to think that it's happening, and they're moving towards that right now. And all the countries are just, it's like like I've said many times, it's like the world leaders have cabin fever and they got in power and they realized, hey, well, I want to do some of the stuff that grandpa was doing in power, like conquer nations and get my name known in history forever. None of them could do that if we're all in peace. And then they'll come back on TV and start talking about it again when they run out of stories that they're pumping here, like the food stamp crisis affecting 12%. So even imagine if 12% or 12.5% of the population is having food problems. We kind of know that we could solve that in about 2 years if the government would move out of the way and allow charities, churches, and promote the ideas of victory gardens and things like that, self-sustainability. But that's not the plan. They want people powerless, scared, and hungry. And that way you can kind of get them to agree with anything that you're going to put on them. And part of that is everybody getting used to not having a job. See, because that's the big transition that
Yeah.
everybody's going to have to face. Not only are people not going to want to keep paying these welfare programs, but there's going to be a lot more and more people that feel like they're desperate and they need that kind of safety net because there's going to be less and less in jobs. Every week I look, thousands of jobs are being taken off from different companies and areas, like that we really don't need is the truth. Some of those
Well,
things we just don't
Ransom,
need.
the AI is moving into the cubicle, and it's going to
Yes.
keep this rate. It's 100,000 people were laid off this week alone. 100,000. Now, it's not just at one company. It's a conglomeration of different companies, including Amazon was one of those. There's a few others too that I cannot remember, but there's also a huge shakeup going on at YouTube in terms of YouTube splitting off into 3 different divisions in itself. That's why you creators out there, including myself, if everything seems completely wonky and your reach isn't there and just everything's completely off, is because the entire algorithm is bent because they're splitting into 3 different, divisions of that. So everywhere you look, it doesn't matter. Everything is being restructured right now. Everything is being restructured. And I wanted to jump over to buymeacoffee.com/civilization cycle. Thank you for supporting us over there with a espresso. Taco Banana right there at the bottom. What do you guys think of Glint? They hold your gold in a secure private vault and then issue a MasterCard to make purchases. It scrapes off the amount of gold you can use in real time as you spend the gold in real time. Andy Scheckman has a partnership with them. Taco Banana, thank you so much for that. And someone who also bought us 3 double espressos, appreciate that. It'll keep us going through the night. Now, Ransom, let me respond first, and then I'd like to get what you're thinking too. What they're trying to do is fractionalize the same thing. They're digitizing the asset. So if they have a kilogram of gold, they can buy treasury bonds and issue a stable coin for the exact same amount of that kilogram of gold. But if they digitize it, they turn it into stable coins, which then can be used off of that same system with MasterCard with the 1 equals 1. So a Circle or a Tether USD, $1 equals $1 that is used in that MasterCard system for that conversion. It works for almost everything. Like the Bitcoin loans are the same. And these Bitcoin credit cards, you hold it in there, the price can appreciate or depreciate, but it's the same thing. Let's say you have 1 Bitcoin in there and you're pulling off a little bit each time. It's converted to USD Tether, and then that Tether goes off into the MasterCard account, which swaps for a 1-to-1 to pay off. So it's 2 different systems clearing somewhere in the middle right now. That's now. So they're going to be digitizing everything. And, how far can they take it, Ransom? Do you think of control once everything is, like I say, on the blockchain? It all has a value associated to it. They're giving these cards out where people can spend, but you're spending on the equity that's in your home or the total value. What happens when that total value runs out? And
Well, you could
something
you
like
could sell an organ, to re-up your worth or whatever. No, I think that's the obvious logical step to the way that they're ending inherited wealth is they're setting up systems where
that.
people can sell off their assets without transferring it to the next generation. And I hate to say it, it seems like after the great generation, the generations followed are a little more selfish and less planning ahead into the future or caring. That's why they had less children. That's why they stopped growing food. That's why, we'll just say moral things went crazy out there in the sphere of human behavior. Everything's accepted now, no matter how crazy it is. You don't know what's real. So they've been planning for this. It's just like a big conglomeration of a bunch of think tanks all coming together at the same time. And the
And
key
yeah,
to
I'm gonna
that, obviously, in history has always been this idea of the food, controlling the food, where you get the food, what the food is, how much of it you need. I mean, think about how much of the garbage food from the store do you need to actually get enough proteins, vitamins, and nutrients in your body without being toxified by it. It's kind of like a give and take there, but you're taking more than you're getting. It's really crazy if you're not really growing your own food or don't, and it's really bad for people that live in the city because when the food shuts off there, it's just over for them. They're the first to feel it. So, like New York City could go the way of Chicago, where they try to open up these communist style city owned grocery stores that don't have food in it. Because they tried that for 1 year. It failed. Obviously, it was going to. When you have government in control of distribution of food and things. So, that's a place we don't want to go. And by the way, once people start robbing everything from the stores. And you remember most of these states, they increase the number value that you have to steal for it to become a serious crime. So people can go into the store and steal $400 worth of groceries and it's still no big deal. It's, they don't even, people are been doing that already without the food stamp thing. They've been just going in there and taking what they want. Over here at the dollar store, they don't even call the cops because it's just not even worth it. Like they literally just don't call the cops, which tells the people, hey, I could just do it again. Right. I'll do it again. They're not going to call the cops. And even if they do, I'm just going to get a misdemeanor. They'll let me out today. Um, so they've kind of been conditioning people that they have a right to steal. They've been arguing about the human food is a human right. And the reason that never comes about as a human right is because um, I mean, think about it. If you say food's a human right, then your next door neighbor that spent all year growing things and stocking their shelves full of emergency food, you just go in there and take it. And they'll be like, well, he didn't commit a crime. He just took some food. It's no big deal.
It's like you're trying to cut off his air, man. Can't
I,
make the guy not breathe in his front yard. How dare you?
I think it should be looked at like when, in my personal opinion, back in the Old West, when you stole someone's horse, that was considered a death sentence. That you just put that person to death. You took their livelihood, you took their transportation, their ability to work and get food. And I really think that private theft of someone's home or anything like that should be treated in the same way. And of course, there are areas that you live in one of them. Florida's another one, and other places where you're probably not going to get in trouble if you protect yourself and your property and your worth and stuff. But in other places, they will prosecute you. You will be the criminal.
Or part of a city or town or state, if the majority of the population's armed, it's a polite society.